Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. You guys have sent us some really compelling stuff and honestly quite eye-opening material about how to navigate the Binance P2P marketplace.
Yeah,
Specifically, we're going to focus on all the different scams that unfortunately exist there.
right.
So let's unpack this and get a real handle on what's going on.
Absolutely. I think the sources you've shared really paint a pretty clear picture. While this whole idea of trading crypto directly with other people has a lot of appeal,
For sure.
it also, as one piece puts, it opens the door to this new frontier of digital deception.
Oh, wow.
It's like this trade-off between autonomy and potential risk.
Absolutely. So for those who might not be as familiar, Binance P2P is essentially a peer-to-peer platform.
Yeah,
It's built within the whole Binance ecosystem.
right.
And what it does is it allows individuals to buy and sell crypto directly with each other using their local currencies. So think of it
Got
like
it.
a digital classifieds for crypto. Like you might
Yeah,
use
yeah.
bank transfers or other local payment methods.
Makes sense.
Binance kind of steps in and acts as this trusted middleman holding the crypto in what's called escrow
Mm-hmm.
until both the buyer and the seller confirm that they've done their part of the deal.
Yeah.
So the attraction's clear,
Yeah.
right? You can potentially get better prices. You have more direct control over your transactions.
That's right. The appeal is really in that direct interaction as the material highlights.
Yeah.
However, this directness can also be where these vulnerabilities can emerge. So our goal in this deep dive is to expose the tactics these scammers use,
Right.
walk through some concrete examples that are provided, and equip you with the knowledge to protect yourself.
Yes.
In today's crypto environment, understanding these risks isn't just advisable, it's vital.
Absolutely.
While cryptocurrency transactions on the blockchain itself are typically transparent and irreversible, these P2P interactions rely on traditional payment methods.
Yeah.
So this introduces a lot of vulnerabilities.
Okay, so let's dive into the core of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
The hidden dangers that are lurking in this seemingly straightforward world of direct crypto trading. The material that you sent really breaks down some of the most prevalent ways that people are getting defrauded.
Yes.
And the first big one is the fake proof of payment scam.
Right.
It sounds simple on the surface,
Right.
but the consequences can be really significant.
It is simple in its execution, but it can be devastating for the victim.
Yeah.
The essence of this scam is deception using fabricated payment confirmations.
Wow.
So the buyer will send you what appears to be proof of payment.
Yeah.
Maybe a manipulated screenshot of a bank transfer, maybe a phony SMS notification,
Gotcha.
and they're going to pressure you to release the crypto from escrow, making you believe that the funds are on their way to your account.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing, and this is the real danger. The money never actually arrives in your account.
Wow.
And a great example of this is this case of the Nigerian seller in the article.
Yeah.
The effectiveness of this scam often hinges on the seller's eagerness to complete the transaction. And maybe a lack of technical savvy to actually discern a genuine notification from a fake one.
Right.
They just see that visual proof and they feel secure and they don't really do the verification that they need to.
That story about the Nigerian seller losing $1,000 USDT after seeing a fake bank transfer screenshot
Yeah.
is a truly stark reminder of the risks that are involved here. And the fact that Binance couldn't recover the funds
Right.
because the seller manually released the crypto underscores a crucial lesson here. You have to trust, but more importantly, you have to verify.
That's
And you have to
correct.
verify
It's very
directly
right.
with your own bank account. Don't rely on a picture. Don't rely on a notification.
Precisely.
Go in and actually check.
And that leads us very nicely to the second most common scam, reversal or chargeback fraud.
Yeah.
This exploits inherent features of certain payment platforms, things that we might use every day without even thinking about it.
Yes. The platforms where a payment isn't always final and can be clawed back after the fact. So can you elaborate on how scammers are leveraging this?
Certainly. Scammers will use payment services like PayPal
Okay.
or Zelle, which, as you said, allows the sender to sometimes reverse a payment even after it initially goes through.
Yeah.
They complete the P2P trade, you release the crypto, then they initiate a chargeback on their payment, effectively getting the cryptocurrency for free.
Wow.
The red flag raised in the material is very clear. Exercise extreme caution and perhaps even avoid accepting crypto payments through these reversible platforms.
Right.
Unless you're fully aware of the risk and you have strategies in place to mitigate it, it's often safer to stick to payment methods where reversals are not an option.
It makes perfect sense. It's like handing over goods in exchange for a check that bounces a week later.
Exactly.
The next scam that was highlighted is the bank account mismatch scam.
Right.
And this one feels like a very deliberate attempt to get around the security measures that platforms like Binance have in place.
It is. It's exactly the intention. Binance, like most reputable exchanges, employs KYC procedures to verify the identities of its users, linking real-world identities to their platform account.
Right.
In this scam, the buyer sends payment from a bank account where the name doesn't match the name they used to register on Binance.
Okay.
This can involve using third-party accounts or even compromised accounts. The material emphasizes Binance's best practice. Release funds only if the name on the bank payment precisely matches the verified name on the buyer's Binance account.
Okay.
No match, no release. It's a critical safeguard designed to prevent fraud by ensuring that the person you're trading with is actually who they say they are.
That's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
And then there's the fake Binance support impersonation.
Right.
This one preys on people's trust in authority and can be quite sophisticated.
It is. So in this scenario, after a trade is initiated, the scammer will contact the seller pretending to be from Binance support. This often happens off-platform.
Oh, wow.
Through messaging apps like Telegram or WhatsApp. They might claim there's an issue with the transaction, request some additional verification outside the Binance platform,
Yeah.
or even threaten to suspend your account
Oh, wow.
to get the seller to release the crypto prematurely. The crucial rule of thumb here, as highlighted in your sources, is that legitimate Binance support will never reach out to you first on these third-party platforms.
Gotcha.
All official communication will be within the Binance app or portal. If you receive a message like this out of the blue, it's an immediate red flag.
That's truly alarming. The audacity to impersonate official support. It just really highlights how vulnerable people can be.
Exactly. They're exploiting that inherent trust that we have in these institutions
Right.
for malicious purposes.
Exactly. And then the material mentions the overpayment trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one is described as less common,
Less common.
but
Yeah.
still something to be aware of.
Correct. So in the scam, the buyer intentionally sends you more money than the agreed upon price. They will then contact you and ask for the excess amount back. This can lead to a couple of different problems. They might try to scam you out of that overpaid amount directly.
Yeah.
Or they might use this as a way to pressure you into releasing the crypto before that initial larger payment clears,
Right.
which could then be reversed, leaving you out of pocket.
It's a more subtle, but still dangerous form of manipulation.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So we've gone through the mechanics of these scams, but
Yeah.
the material you sent also rightly emphasizes the psychological tactics that these scammers employ.
Yes.
I think that this is absolutely crucial for us to understand. It's not just about technical deception.
Right.
It's about how they manipulate our emotions and our decision-making processes.
Exactly. Scammers are very skilled at psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
They understand that if they can create a sense of urgency, a sense of fear,
Right.
or play on your empathy, you're more likely to let your guard down,
Yeah.
bypass your better judgment and overlook those red flags that we just talked about.
Yeah. And it's a sad reality that these scammers prey on basic human empathy.
It is.
So it underscores the need to remain vigilant, even when our instincts might tell us otherwise.
Exactly.
So the material provides some examples of these tactics in action.
Yeah.
The sense of urgency tactic uses lines like, and I'm quoting here, "Please release the crypto now. I have a family emergency."
Wow.
It's designed to make you feel like you need to act immediately
Right.
and with taking the necessary time to verify.
Exactly. Their goal is to rush you through the process so that you don't actually have the time to check if the payments arrived
Right.
or if the details match. Then there's the tactic of intimidation, where they might use threats, again quoting, "I'm reporting you to Binance if you don't release the funds right now."
Oh, wow.
This plays on your fear of repercussions.
Yeah.
And it can panic sellers into making really bad decisions.
Yeah. And then there are the emotional traps using phrases like, and this one is particularly cynical, "My child is in the hospital. I need this transaction immediately."
Yeah.
This is like a direct appeal to your empathy.
Yeah, your good nature.
Yeah, make you feel obligated to help, even if it means skipping crucial security steps.
It's a stark reminder of how far these scammers will go.
Exactly. And it really highlights why it's so critical to remain objective and stick to the platform's guidelines and your own verification procedures, no matter how compelling the situation might seem.
Yeah.
Now, despite all these dangers that we've outlined, the material does make it clear that Binance P2P can still be a very safe and useful platform for trading,
Absolutely.
provided, of course, that users follow the rules and they use the best practices. The material highlights built-in protections, things like the escrow system,
Right.
the KYC process.
Right.
However, it also points out that users can often unintentionally weaken or bypass these safeguards.
That's a really critical point. Binance does provide the tools and the infrastructure for secure trading, but the effectiveness of these protections really relies on the users
Yes.
using them correctly and consistently.
Take the escrow system, for example. It holds the cryptocurrency securely until both parties confirm the transaction.
Yeah.
But if a seller releases the funds without confirming that they've received the payment in their bank account,
Right.
the protection offered by the escrow is completely negated.
Exactly. It's completely pointless at that point.
Similarly, KYC is in place to verify everyone's identities, but if sellers ignore mismatches in names,
Right.
they're essentially bypassing a fundamental layer of security.
100%.
And the chat monitoring feature, so Binance can review the chat logs in the event of disputes.
Yeah.
This is only helpful if the communication takes place on the platform.
Yeah.
So if users are going off to WhatsApp or Telegram,
Right.
that crucial audit trail is lost.
Exactly.
Even the rating and feedback system, while valuable, isn't entirely foolproof.
Right.
The material notes that sometimes high ratings can be faked
Yeah.
or accumulated through transactions that were not fraudulent. So relying solely on a high rating is not always a guarantee of safety.
Right. It's not a perfect system.
Right.
These examples really underscore that user vigilance and adherence to best practices is just as crucial as any of the technical features that Binance provides. It's a shared responsibility.
So how do we become more vigilant and ensure we're not accidentally undermining these protections?
Right.
Thankfully, the material includes this very detailed checklist,
Yeah.
the Protects, or the Protection Guide as they call it, and it provides actionable steps.
Mm-hmm.
So let's break down these recommendations. They're divided into before, during, and after a trade.
Sounds good. Yeah. Let's start with the before you trade section. So the first recommendation is to verify the counterparty.
Okay.
Check their rating on Binance, look at the number of orders they've completed, see how long they've been a user on the platform,
Okay.
avoid users with recent negative feedback, or accounts that are less than 30 days old.
Absolutely. A longer history on the platform and predominantly positive feedback, while not a guarantee, can offer a little reassurance.
Yeah.
The second point is use in-app chat only.
Right.
Reinforces what we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
keeping all of your communication related to trades within the official Binance chat.
Right.
No conducting business on WhatsApp, Telegram, email, or any other external platform.
Exactly. Keeping it in the Binance app keeps a record that Binance can access in case there's any disputes, but it also prevents scammers from getting you
Right.
to go to a less secure environment where they might use different tactics.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And the third key point under before you trade is don't share personal data.
Yes.
This should be a general principle online, but it's especially important in this context. Never share sensitive information.
Right.
Things like your ID, your address, screenshots of your bank, any other details with trading partners. Legitimate transactions on Binance P2P
Yeah.
should not require the exchange of such information.
It's
Protecting your information is paramount. Now, what about during the trade? What are the
Yeah.
key things to keep in mind during the transaction?
Absolutely. The first and most critical step during the trade is to wait for actual payment.
Okay.
Don't rely on SMS notifications or email confirmations or even screenshots
Okay.
as proof that the money's arrived.
Right.
You have to log into your bank account and actually verify that the money has been credited to your balance.
Gotcha.
Second, and this is crucial for avoiding the bank account mismatch scam,
Right.
is to check the sender name. Ensure the name of the person who sent the payment
Yeah.
exactly matches the name on their Binance account. If the names don't match, you should absolutely refuse to release the cryptocurrency until that discrepancy is clarified.
Yeah.
Even if the amount is correct, a mismatch in names is a big red flag.
Absolutely. And the final point for during the trade is very simple, but very vital.
Yeah.
Don't rush.
Right.
Ignore pressure tactics, emotional pleas.
Yeah.
Scammers often try to create a sense of urgency to stop you from thinking clearly.
Exactly. Taking a moment to double-check everything is always better than rushing and potentially being scammed.
Okay, so let's move on to what users should do after the trade has been completed.
Right. The first recommendation after a trade is to leave a rating.
Okay.
Provide honest feedback, whether positive or negative. This helps to inform other users, and it builds trust and transparency.
Absolutely.
Second, report any suspicious activity.
Right.
Use the Binance P2P dispute system. If anything during the trade felt off, even if you didn't fall victim, you should report it.
Gotcha.
It helps them to identify potential bad actors.
Right.
Third, block suspicious users.
Okay.
If someone tries to defraud you or they just act weird, block them immediately. And finally, keep records.
Okay.
Take screenshots of conversations, receipts, transactions. This can be invaluable if you need to file a dispute,
Right.
contact your bank, or even file a police report.
This is incredibly practical, actionable advice.
Yeah.
But what if someone has done everything right and the worst happens?
Yeah.
And they realize they've been scammed? What are the immediate steps they should take?
Right. So the material gives us a clear list.
Okay.
The first and most immediate step is to contact Binance support immediately. It even gives us a link to their chat. https://www.binance.com/nchat.
Okay.
When you contact them, explain what happened. Provide as much detail as you can. Screenshots, transaction details, whatever you have.
Gotcha.
Time is of the essence in these situations. The faster you act, the better the chances of mitigating the damage.
Absolutely.
The second step is to initiate a dispute through the P2P interface on the trade.
Okay.
This notifies Binance and allows them to start looking into things.
Gotcha.
Third, you should report to your bank.
Okay.
If you received money from a suspicious account, tell your bank's fraud department.
Yeah.
If you're the one who lost the money, inquire with your bank to see if a recovery or a freeze on the account is possible. And finally, you want to file a police report, especially if it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
The material notes that Binance will cooperate with police if required.
So to bring it all together, while Binance P2P offers a valuable avenue for direct crypto trading,
Yeah.
this deep dive shows that vigilance and sticking to best practices is absolutely paramount.
Absolutely.
The platform provides a framework for security, but ultimately, it is the user's responsibility to be informed, to follow the rules, and to remain alert. As this material shows, human error and a failure to follow these guidelines
Yeah.
are huge vulnerabilities
Right.
that scammers actively exploit.
Precisely. By understanding these common scams and recognizing the psychology behind them,
Right.
and by following that protection guide, users can significantly reduce their risk.
It's about being proactive.
Yeah.
Combine those security features that Binance has put in place
Yeah.
with your own awareness and careful transaction practices.
Yes.
This has been a really insightful deep dive, and frankly, quite sobering,
Yeah.
into the world of Binance P2P scams.
Right.
The level of ingenuity and the manipulative tactics we've seen, it really makes you think. What other areas of the digital economy, particularly those that use peer-to-peer interactions,
Yeah.
might be similarly vulnerable?
Yeah. It's a great question.
And what other steps can individuals take to protect themselves, not just on Binance, but more broadly in this digital landscape?
Right.
It's a question we need to keep in mind
Absolutely.
as we navigate this evolving frontier. So thanks for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure. It was a great discussion.